Alrighty, so hi guys. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad. It's getting spicy and hot back in California now, and so because of that, I don't want to put my air conditioning on, so my windows and my doors are closed or are open. Great ramble to start off with. Anyway, let's get into this redraw way, don't we? Oh my god. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been. I'm gonna talk about it when I make my like sketchbook rambles, which will probably go up next week or this weekend, depending on how I can get my editing schedule done. Uh, but anyway, March was kind of an asshole to me. It was kind of a jerk this month, and because of that, my stress levels have just been through the roof. But hey, the joys of being self-employed and adult issues that I can't go into. But anyway, so because of that, I was kind of stressing out and having kind of a bad art month. The most that I could say is a good thing that came from this month is I've peaked more of my own art style. I've been focusing more on my inking and like line variation, which is what you're going to see for the most part of this video for the speed paint. Another thing, which I will definitely talk about in that sketchbook rambles in better detail. My iPad is being weird and not recording things like it used to. I'm like losing footage now, and that's hence why I lost the entirety of the shading and the final rendering of this video, which really makes me mad because that was about another hour worth of stuff that's just gone to the ether. And there's nothing I can do to back it up. And I've been having this issue a lot with my iPad, so I've been having to do like 15 to 20 minute chunks. And if I go past that 15-minute point, then it like also has a chance of crashing. And I don't want to have to, every single time I'm in the zone, have to put a timer on my phone because I don't want it to pop up on my iPad when I record it, because I record from my iPad, to be like, all right, you blah blah blah, stop the recording, and then once I'm done with a picture, I have to upload it to my computer instantly so I don't mess up the files, because the iPad, while I love it and it is great, is terrible with naming files. And I know people have said like, well, you can go into the yeah, I do that anyway when I put it on my computer. Still work. It's still a lot more work. So it's just been a moment. So hopefully you don't mind mostly watching inks. I do have flats towards the end, but I will also talk more about the before and after and the final details that didn't get recorded, because that's just a joyous occasion. But I was having a really low day. I was, going this and that. And Facebook, because yeah, I'm an old person. I still use Facebook, and I also have a lot of family members that only use Facebook. So it's kind of the only way I can keep in touch with some of them. I had that little pop-up of, hey, remember when 11 years ago you posted this? And I was like, no, Facebook. I didn't remember I posted that. Like, when I saw it, I did, but I was like, ooh, that's rough. But that's back when I was in high school. Fun fact, 2010 I was a junior in high school. And I did that on my Welcome Into Os Pro 3 in Sci 1. Ooh, overshading everywhere. But actually, the whole point of this picture was I was inspired by, and I will put it up here, a commission I had actually got from my friend who is Empress Kaiju here on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. She used to be Aeroflex Dracona for the longest time, and this was my very first time commissioning somebody online. And it was a different time in 2010. I had to send her a mail order, money order, and everything. But oh my god, I loved it so much, and I loved how she had drawn my character Tetsu. If you guys don't know, if you are new here, Tetsu is from... Tetsu is a short name for her long name, which is Tetsugaya. And she is the main character in my Marked series, which is a book series I have been writing since high school. Don't get your hopes up. It's still very much in the writing phase. It will not be out for a long time. But she is one of my most important characters and my biggest comfort character that could be, because she is my first 100% original character. And she's also gone through extreme changes, especially in these 11 years. It feels weird realizing I had this story for that long, because I technically started Marked back in 2008, but I never did much with it because I was young and in high school, and I hadn't read a lot of stories at the time. I hadn't consumed a lot of media, so it was more like just random things in my brain I wanted to get out here. And so with that being said, there were a lot of things that I changed and I wanted to do in the redraw. I also didn't have artist confidence. I didn't actually have artist confidence for a long time. And what is that? Artist confidence is pretty much when like you have confident lines, you have confident coloring. It's when, like the word says, you're confident in what your work is. You're not as stressed out or worried. That little bust took me hours to do because I was so nervous I was messing things up. And sadly, there's no way to get over that except for practice. Like, I would have to say, even for me, I only gained confident lines recently. I would say within the past 2 years, maybe, where I have more confidence in my line work than I used to where I had to rely on a stabilizer for a very long time because I was always worried about my shaky hands. Well, with practice, I've been able to get better at that. But something else that changed in the design that I wanted to do is I wanted her to be actually doing magic because, fun fact, I don't really get to do a lot of artwork of my characters. I'm getting to do more now because of things like Patreon and stuff like that. But I used to do a lot of stuff, but again, I wasn't confident. So a lot of my redraws, for especially really back then, they're mostly going to be busts because I, again, wasn't confident. Even with references, I wasn't really confident in it. Take a shot every time I say confident. But my major's supposed to be like magical and whimsical and whooshy, and I always talked about it, and I'd write these long descriptions because I never felt like I could draw it at the time. And that's why I'm like, well, you know what? I can now. So, because it was inspired by this bust my friend Anna did for the longest time, I wanted to do more with that. And with Tetsu being the Earth Mage, in other words, like an Earth Witch, I thought, ooh, okay, I want to redo that flower. I'm still not very confident in that flower I did. I did do the flower pretty fast, but I was like in the zone. And I don't know if you guys are ever like that, but when you get in the zone, you're just like, I should go back and work on this. But I'm like focusing on more of the stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the flower be like all magical instead of being a part of the border. I'm gonna do that thing where I'm gonna have her being like popping out of the border. I actually wanted to do like a quickie little background along with it. I wanted to add more elements to it, but I was like, I shouldn't do that much this time around because it's supposed to be a redraw and I've already changed so much. But who knows, when I redraw this again, I might do that background that I want to do. But, so I wanted to work with her magic, and something else I wanted to change in her design is, her color has changed. Same with the outfit I gave her. I made sure that I wanted to change a lot more going forward where you can see, oh yeah, I learned how to make skin tones. I learned how to do color variation. I learned about limited color palettes and how to make colors flow well together and to blend a piece together. This is also stuff that just comes with practice. There's no real right and wrong way to do it. Sadly, just practice. That's what you're going to do. Look at other pictures, look at things, see how things coincide, see what you like in this and why your artwork isn't doing that, and you'll be able to work with that. So something else I changed was Tetsu has her apple hair now. She's had her apple hair for a very, very, very long period of time, but she actually got her apple care. Hello, it's apple care. She got her apple hairstyle actually from my friend Bezzy K here on YouTube. She drew a picture of her a long time ago with this like little swirly and this apple poof going on, and I just fell in love with it, and I kept Tetsu's hair that way ever since. She's always had the short hair, and sorry if you hear that crinkling in the background, my cat's eating a bag because my cat is very dumb, and that's self-employed life. I live in a one-bedroom apartment, so my office is also my living room, and I don't feel right sectioning off my cat to like a third of my apartment or 2/3 of my apartment just so I can record audio. But anyway, I also changed her design. I added the detail of her ring. I added her earring, which is something I've added for a long time. In a lot of the marked mages, I wanted to incorporate this magic orb that's actually on all of the mages. All of the mages' bios and pictures leading forward in different ways they incorporate into their outfits. Tetsu's was an earring. It started a long time ago where I had this idea for it, where she also went through a lot of different variations in character design, where I was like, okay, I want this orb to be in a staff, and then I'm like, staff doesn't really work for her. I still have that like chibi where I drew her with the staff and the orb thing. Didn't really work out. But something else that I made sure that I did was I had her extra piercings going on to show a bit more of her personality. And something else too is I wanted to have the glowing eye effect. I'll pop it up here. I have two versions. You're gonna watch at some point when I end up coloring the eyes. I color it the way I normally color eyes now. But when I was doing the magic effect, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go back and do like the magic-y thing, because I always saw it for the mages when they have their eyes glowing. It's this like really intense glow, and I was able to find a way to experience this. And by the way, I don't own this technique. I saw it in like Danny Phantom when I was a kid, and I'm sure there's a lot of other places you can find it online. But if you really want to have intense glowing effects, what you actually do is you do a white, but you have the color of it be the color of like what it's supposed to be irradiating. And so that's what I did here, and I'll pop that on screen because I think that's a part of the process that was also cut out. It's in the final photo, but again, if you follow me on Patreon, I know I'm plugging my Patreon a lot, but it's where I post the variations. I have the glowing-eyed version and the normal-eyed version, so you can go there. Something else I had a lot of fun with was this time was I got to mess with the glowy effects in Procreate. Normally what I used to do is I would make a stroke in Photoshop and then just like mess with it that way, but man, Procreate and their magical glowy brushes, I can't tell you which ones they are. They're just the default brushes that came with Procreate. I only have like 2 other brush packs that I've downloaded, and I didn't use either of them for this picture. So just if you have Procreate, the basic ones it comes with, I use dry ink for inking. I use dry ink for shading when the shading part pops up when I'm done. And then I also use, for sketching, just the basic 2B, I think it is, the 2B or the sketching pencil. But yeah, there's that too. Oh, something else I feel like I should point out is that a lot of people ask me, why the 4 fingers? Do your characters all just have 4 fingers? Do the people have 4 fingers? It's just my style. That is, I know it's like, oh, it's a cop-out. No, like that is actually like a style choice for me. I practice a lot to try to draw like 4-fingered hands looking well, because I grew up in the 90s and I liked the 4 fingers from the 90s cartoons. And same with like, I know Dragon Prince, the elves have 4 fingers, and they like do it that way as well for the elves. But if anybody ever wants to draw my characters, you can draw them with normal fingers, because I've gotten fan art where people draw them with 4 fingers when they clearly aren't used to doing that, and I always find it funny. So, yeah, no, all of my characters have a normal amount of fingers unless I state otherwise, but it's just, that's something I like. I like is the 4-fingered style for it. And so something else I've been working on with my style is, back to that inking really quick, is that I've been having so much fun, just so much fun, having these like weird line weight variations. I actually got the idea from Gun Mooney on Instagram. I don't think they have a YouTube. I know they watch me on YouTube, but I don't know if they have a YouTube. But I know Gun Mooney on Instagram and Twitter and DA, they were like, hey, you should mess with line variations. And so I messed with it in a couple of things, and I was doing it where I was working on it with some sticker designs and other things here and there. I did a lot of them in my Adori collab busts, and I just fell in love with it. And it's been like incorporated into my style right now as something new that I don't think I can go back from. And that's something else, like I kind of want to end this off here, is your style is always going to change, and you will not believe how drastic stuff gets in 5 years or 11 years like this case is. Because I did the original one back in 2010, and I did the new one, well, now at the time of recording this, in March of 2021. And so just seeing the difference and the growth in this makes me so insanely happy. Redraws always do for me. It always gives me a big boost of confidence, because I'm always like, ugh, I'm never going to be that good. I'm never going to, and to see the growth really makes me feel better about myself, and I think the same should go on to you listening right now if you are an artist. You know, go back and find a really, really old piece of artwork of yours and try to redraw it and do the best you can, you know? It's one of those really great things that helps boost our confidence, and that like, oh, I really am changing and growing, aren't I? And things are constantly changing and growing too. Same with, you know, art styles, coloring, and anatomy choices. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and comment for the butt if you can't think of a normal thing to do, because the YouTube algorithm is dumb. But saying that, you guys commenting for that yummy, yummy bot food has helped tremendously. I've had so many comments of people telling me they're getting my videos in their inbox again when they subscribe. And so, hence, that's the point of that. If you like me and want to support me, I have everything in my link tree linked down below. I have Patreon, Ko-fi, and blah, blah, blah. And so that's a great way to support the girl. Thank you, as always, to my amazing Patreon patrons. Without you guys, none of this would be possible at all. I love you all so much. And I will, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.